Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today up for review, we're going to be doing a Masters of the Universe Masterverse action figure review, featuring Master Universe New Eternia, Revolution, and New Adventures action figures from the Masterverse toy line. I'll be reviewing one at a time and doing a few comparisons, so let's get on with it. Okay, first up we have the Master Universe Masterverse New Eternia Cyclone action figure. I just want to mention that for these figures in the review, I do not have all the other accessories that come with the figures. For the review, I just have them set up with the accessories that I like to display them with. Because I've had these out of box for a while now, so all the extra accessories like hands, heads, and stuff like that, I have put away. New Eternia Man at Arms, when I get to him, I will mention that I do not have his mace with me. I lost it, so we'll have to find that at some other point. I will not be comparing with any Origins figures for most of these. The only ones that I'll have Origins comparisons is for Mechanic and Fisto. Everything else will just be Masterverse comparisons. So, first things first, I'm going to bring this guy in closer so you can look at his head sculpt. The camera will focus. Let's put my hand back here. There we go. Really cool head sculpt. Kind of looks like the vintage Cyclone, but has a cooler New Eternia styling to it. I actually like this head sculpt a lot. Got these interesting blue line-like maybe tattoos or something like that. Very Asian inspired. It looks like his helmet has some more of that 2000X inspiration, which was kind of going for an Asian airbender style, more anime look. The chest, instead of having a lenticular like the Origins and Vintage figure, just has like this clear bubble, and it has like these cool lines. Kind of looks like a radar with different planets and stuff. Looks really cool. I believe it's a separate piece and it's glued in there. Side view, so it does stick out from the chest. Looks really cool though, in my opinion. Got these cool painted red fins coming off the buck. That is part of the buck. They're not glued on pieces. This Cyclone would come with this little red mask that you can put over here. It just clips on. I do not have that with me. And he does come with two gripping hands, I do believe. But he has nothing to grip onto, so it's kind of pointless. But for the arms, he has this cool new bicep / tricep accessory, I guess. It does appear to be a separate piece that's painted and glued, like it's cast in translucent plastic, and then the red part is painted translucent. It's the translucent blue up here. Got these cool fiery flame effects that just plug into the arms. Moving down, you can see a new Japanese style armored piece that still has some of the vintage inspired elements to it. I love the metallics on this figure. He's probably one of my favorite Masterverse figures so far. Cyclone is my #1 favorite hero anyway from He-Man, so that's why I chose to review him first. Moving down, he has boots that look exactly like the vintage inspired Cyclone boots. Got this cool metallic shimmery plastic for the gold and blue on this figure. As you can see, you can remove these little effects, and on the back we just have this shield, which there's a little plug for that, and there's some more detail up there. He does not come with any of those red rings like the Origins does. It'd be really cool if he came with a little red ring to plug in there, but he does not. You can plug the shield here onto the left side. Looks pretty cool. And then you can also plug these effects onto the shield if you would like to. And that looks really cool. Then you can also plug that onto the back of the figure. Let me do that real quick. Trying to keep this in frame and then look at it in real life too. So it kind of mimics those red rings, but more, I guess, cool is the word that you could use. I'm going to use this Cyclone for my articulation side of things. There's only a few figures that I'll actually do the articulation. Like when I get to a few of the female figures, I'll redo the articulation, and characters like Fisto and Mechanic that have like special articulation, I'll go ahead and go through that. But like I said, I'm not going to be doing it with all the figures. So for the head, it can look side to side, look up about that far. We should focus. Come on. There we go. Look down. Pretty good downward range. It does pop off. You could exchange it with the Origins one. I do not have the Origins Cyclone that was a Mattel Creations exclusive yet. That is one of my figures that I hope to get this year. Got this little swivel at the bicep/tricep. When you have this shield plugged in, it does kind of get in the way. It hinders the articulation a little bit, but it is rubbery, so it does kind of bend. This blue part does, so it's not too much of a problem. Double jointed elbows. Looks really cool. Kind of hinge at the wrist. There we go. Straighten that out. Same thing on the other side. Swivel at the diaphragm. Ab crunch about that far. Back that far. Swivel at the waist. Let's move the arms up. I do believe he can do full splits. Yes, full splits. Even though he has that extra armor bit, it does not get in the way. He does have the little drop joints, so that's pretty cool. Most of the new Masterverse figures have the drop joints. Swivel up at the thigh. Double jointed knee. Go all the way back and kick himself in the back. We got a swivel at the boot cut. Hinge at the ankle, as well as rocker. All the articulation feels pretty solid. For the most part, there is a little bit of loose joints, but I have had this figure for a while and done a lot of posing with it, so out of the package, he was really nice and sturdy. I picked this figure up at Walmart. I do believe that he is available on Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, and probably places like Target. I'm not sure about that, but most likely, I do believe he's an all-retail figure. You could probably get him on Amazon, Walmart Plus, things like that. Overall, he's a really, really cool figure. I think I'm going to move on to... Let's do a villain. I'm going to move on to Trapjaw next. Here we go. We have the Master Universe New Returning in Trapjaw action figure. I do not have the claw and the hook accessory with me. I am traveling currently, so I'm doing a toy review on the go. I do have the accessories at home. If you would like me to do a comparison with my Origins counterparts for these figures in the video, just let me know. The only one that I could not do a comparison for is Shadow Weaver and the New Adventure Skeletor, because they have not made those figures in Origins yet. But if you would like to see how the New Adventure Skeletor compares alongside the 40th anniversary He-Man from New Adventures, just let me know in the comments down below. Sorry about my voice and everything. Got a sore throat and my allergies are acting up really, really bad, so my nose is all clogged, so I'm sure you can hear that. Bring Trapjaw closer for a look at the head sculpt. Looks really, really good. Nice articulated jaw. Kind of done this maroonish purple color. The helmet's done in a red. I kind of would prefer it to all be one uniform color. Either both the helmet and the jaw be the helmet color, or both the helmet and the jaw be the jaw color, but overall it looks pretty cool. The jaw is removable, because you could interchange this jaw with the little clamp on the claw accessory. If you want to see people do that, look at Pixel Dan's channel or the Man Child. They have reviews on these figures as well. He's got a little bit different articulation, but we're not really going to go over that, except for this arm. For the arm, it does go in a little bit, out, not much, but goes up and down. At the elbow, we have a bend. Pretty good bend on the elbow. Swivel. It's on like a ball joint in there. Then you swivel at the accessory. You can unplug this. It does have the same size peg as the regular hands for Masterverse. He has this cool sword that has like the ram staff on it. More like a dagger, but it looks pretty cool. It is worth mentioning that you can plug this into the gun or into the arm. That is something that some of the toy reviewers that I've watched have not showed in their videos, that you can actually plug that in there. At San Diego Comic-Con, they showed that off, so just wanted to point that out. This belt is a removable belt. I'm not going to do any armor removal in this video, but just going to show the figure off from head to toe. Like I said, the head sculpt's really good. The arm's really cool. Here's the back. You got a slot for the sword. You got a slot for the extra accessories for the arm. So you'll be using like one accessory at a time. So while you've got one accessory in the gun, you can store all the others. So that's really, really cool. Moving to the belt, it's got really, really nice detail. Vintage inspired, but kind of updated, just like the new Eternia does. Really cool Trapjaw legs and feet. Very vintage inspired. This Trapjaw is actually so vintage inspired that it could almost fit with the new Masterverse Vintage collection. But there is like a few things that I guess would make it new Eternia. Sorry, there'll probably be a lot of cuts in the video because my allergies are acting up, so I have to pause and fix everything. But overall, this is a really, really cool figure. I do believe that under here it's the updated muscular buck. for Trapjaw, but this armor I do believe is glued on. I couldn't find a way to get it off, so I do believe that it's glued on. Yeah, it's definitely glued on. But it looks really cool in my opinion. This is my favorite villain is Trapjaw. Trapjaw and Beastman are tied for #1 villain, and then for #1 hero, I'd probably do Cyclone and Mechanic. Those are my two favorites. Then after that, it'd probably be Zodak and Stratos. But anyway, that's Trapjaw. Next up, we have Leech, which I left his crossbow at home. That is very disappointing. I just now realized that. But anyhow, he's a really cool figure. Really nice Filmation-inspired head sculpt from the Princess of Power subset of Masterverse. So that's, I think, cartoon-inspired. Really nice head sculpt. Horde symbol looks great. Shoulder pads are awesome. They are removable. Let's look at the hands. Got this cool C lamprey style inner hands. This cool wrist armband that's kind of got like almost like a tentacle. Maybe it's a actual live leech. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but it looks really cool. Brand new torso. Doesn't really have that much of an ab crunch, but it's okay. Wrist bracers are removable. You got actually, my waist on my leech is not swiveling. He does have the drop joints as well. I think he reuses some of the slush head parts. I think the legs are a reuse of slush heads. I'm not sure about that though. He's got really cool feet. Once again, the sea lamprey style detail on the bottom of the feet, which they did not have to do that. Only disappointing thing is they didn't do any peg holes. Luckily, his feet are big enough that he stands pretty good, unlike the Origins Leech. Overall, really cool figure. Cool details. Love that head sculpt. I'll go ahead and bring in my other Horde member for comparison. So here we have Shadow Weaver alongside Leech. So there is a size difference. He is taller. But then if I bring in Cyclone again, he is taller than Leech. So that's a little bit of scale comparison. I'll be bringing Shadow Weaver back in later on when I do the Evil Lyn, because Shadow Weaver is extremely short, which she does come with a flight stand, which makes her about the right height, but otherwise she's extremely small. She's a little bit too big to work with Origins, but a little bit too small to go with Masterverse. So I'll show that here in a little bit when I get to Evil Lyn. Since we already have her out, I'm going to go ahead and move to Shadow Weaver. So, with Shadow Weaver, when you get her, I do believe her cape is off, but it's very easy to put on. You just slide it over the hands and arms, and then it just kind of clips on. It's easier to remove the hands if you have the spellcasting hand on. This hand is really easy to slide it over. The head looks left and right. Doesn't look up, looks down a little bit. It is removable. This is a separate little collar piece. She does have a diaphragm swivel right under her chest there. And it does crunch forward. I don't know if you can see that. Let me pull the cape up. So she does crunch forward a little bit. back a little bit. Looks pretty cool. Her waist is just a robe, so there's no articulation there. Really, there's like a little bit of articulation underneath, but it doesn't help. Like, that looks weird. Like, you could tilt her like that, but she doesn't stand up very well. There's not really much to her. She has the standard double jointed elbows. My elbow is stuck, so it's not bending the upper half of the elbow, but the lower half's working just fine. Hinges at the wrist, very, very tight. But overall, she's a very simplistic character because the robe just makes it just like only her upper torso is really action figure. The rest of it's kind of just like static. But she does come with this cool wand. Got a little bit of twirly detail. Translucent green orb. Looks pretty cool. Goes good alongside Leech. I do not have any more of the Horde members or Prince of Power characters from Masterverse. I am looking for the Deluxe Hordak, the Revolution Hordak, Revelation Horde Skeletor, Princess of Power She-Ra, Princess of Power Frosta, Princess of Power Catra, and Princess of Power Grizzlor are on my list for Masterverse. But so far I only have Shadow Weaver and Leech. Next up we have Master Universe New Eternia Mechanic. Let me raise my tripod. There we go. Now he's in frame. But that's with my neck all articulated. When I straighten it out, let's see if it'll actually be in frame. I think it's a little too tall. I do believe that he stands at 13 or 14 inches with all of his neck extensions that he comes with. Alright. Nope, we can't quite keep him in frame unless I move the camera back. Because if I go up any higher, it kind of cuts off his feet. So that's the best I can do to keep him in frame. For scale, let's throw in the Revolution Battle Armor He-Man. So that shows how much taller he is. His neck and head alone is almost as tall as his entire body. Maybe one more neck extension and it would be a full 8 inches tall. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to move this off to the side. So for him, head sculpt is really cool. Pretty classic look. Got the fat metal eyes, the weird helmet. Got the detail on the back. Red, silver, vac metal on the tan face. Does have a bit of a wash to it. We have the articulation in the neck. So that's really cool. You can go all the way around. Kind of reminds me of how the Filmation figure was. Not figure. Cartoon was, to where his neck just kept on going and going and going. It'd be really cool to see somebody buy a bunch of Mechanics and see how tall they can make the neck without him falling over. But pretty cool looking neck. On the back, he also has one of those little connectors for his shield. There's some details. Little Road Ripper / Ground Ripper depicted on the shield. It's the German variant, so that was blue in the vintage toy line. You clip that onto the wrist bracer on this side. It doesn't look that good because it doesn't make sense for it to just clip there in his hand, not be holding it. I wish it was more like He-Man's shield where you actually have to hold it. so I just keep it stored on the back. He has a new design for his arms all together. It's got like this mechanical design. Same thing for the legs. The only thing that I think he reuses is the boots and the loincloth from other figures. His buck underneath also has some circuitry and stuff, so it's different. So his bodysuit looks really, really cool. Nice metallic color. His mace looks just like the vintage accessory slash telescope. This one actually has a telescope. Got the little hole in there. So it is worth mentioning that this does pop apart and has a ball peg for the head. You can replace it as extra neck extension, or just have him have a gold neck, or take the neck extensions and make the mace longer. So we can do that real quick. Just take two of these off the neck, and I'm just going to put it onto the mace to show you how that works. I mean, it doesn't really make sense for his mace to extend like that, but I mean, it's something different, something new for New Eternia, but it's kind of boring in my opinion. For my Mechaneck display at home, I don't actually keep all of his extensions on the figure. I just keep one of them because my shelves are spaced too close together to where I can only fit one neck extension on my 8-inch wall. On my Origins wall, it's spaced to fit 12-inch figures. I specifically spaced it for 12-inch figures. So it can fit all of my figures on that wall for Origins. So I just put all my extra neck extensions on my vintage inspired Mechaneck. But for comparison, I'm just going to bring in the vintage Mechaneck and show you the head sculpts first. So, vintage inspired Mechaneck for Origins. I do have a vintage Mechaneck at home. They got very similar face sculpts, but I do like the Masterverse one better. He actually looks kind of happy. This one kind of looks like he's frowning. Black metal eyes, silver and red. Weird design for the helmet. This one does not have the detail on the back for the Origins like the Masterverse does. Armor is very similar, both front and back. Loincloth color is the same. I do like the boots better on this one for Masterverse. Let's move that back. Just put that there for scale comparison. Of course, the necks makes it unfair, but just going by shoulder height, that's how they fit with each other. My Origins Mechaneck space is at home, I do believe. But that's how they would look together. Something I just realized is I forgot to plug in my microphone. So I have yet to use this, so I don't know if plugging it in will mess up the audio of the video that I've already filmed. So I'll have to hook that up next time, and maybe my audio will be a little bit better. Hopefully next time I won't have allergy issues going on, because right now, every single time you've seen a cut in the video, I've had to get up and go blow my nose and stuff, so just hopefully, but next time I film a video, you won't have to deal with all my cloggy nose and all that. But we're going to move on to Triclops next. Alright, so here we have the new Eternia Triclops. He looks really cool. He actually came with two visors, one that was Filmation inspired and one that was regular. I don't have the other one with me because this is my preferred style, because the detail on the visor is really cool. Here's his extra angry red eye. It's really tight. His neutral eye. I know that there's like in Filmation there's like gamma vision, X-ray vision, and one other kind of vision. I don't remember which one was which. So just say red eye, green eye, blue eye. But overall looks pretty cool. He's got his hair coming out the back of this helmet. Helmet's done a nice gunmetal. Actually has a chin strap, which makes sense. In the vintage, it never made sense how it actually was staying on his head. Guess it could have been just like a hat that fit over his eyes too or something, but this is removable. Underneath you just have some circuitry. And it's got all 3 eye holes sculpted into the circuitry. So that's pretty cool. That's how he'd look without his visor. Moving down, we have the mini comic inspired straps. And then you have the classic vintage inspired armor underneath. They're both removable. To remove the strap, you just take off the head, slide it over, and it goes off this arm. Take off the other armor, you just pop these 2 clasps, take it over the head. That's pretty easy. I hope you can't hear that train in the background. Moving down, he has like this armor-inspired loincloth. It's got some fur on the side, so it's mainly armored. Kind of like the pig head from the Masterverse line. Got nice wrist bracers. He's got this mini comic inspired gold sword, which the silver is chipping off of this pretty easily. Then he's got a vintage inspired sword that's kind of updated a tiny bit. Paint's also chipping off of this sword because they're both cast in black and then painted up. Moving down, he has the same boots as Mechanic, just done in black, so that's pretty cool. He's got a nice orangish tan skin tone. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. There, stand up, please. Thank you. So he is a different skin tone than He-Man and Fisto and stuff like that, so I do believe he's the only figure in the line so far that has that color. Yeah. For a second, I thought that He-Man had the same skin tone, but it's actually very different. Here's a closer look at that visor. Oh, it's upside down, I think. Yep, there we go. Pretty cool piece. It does have some notches on the inside to kind of click into place when you get to each eye. So that's cool. Next up in the New Eternia subline of Masterverse, we have Masterverse New Eternia Manny Faces. He's got a really cool classic design. There's not really anything New Eternia about him at all. Just kind of looks like an upgrade from the vintage. Got a cool bodysuit. With all that stretched skin over the mechanics and stuff, that had to hurt. He does have this briefcase, though, that has, for some reason, an eye on it. It'd make more sense to have a face on it. This kind of reminds me more of Triclops, but whatever. It's got these 2 little pegs on the back. Those plug into peg holes on the back of the figure. You got copyright 2022 Mattel 1186MJ1NL, made in Vietnam. HLB45. That's probably just serial numbers and stuff. I do believe he has the same arms as Trapjaw. He does share the same exact legs. I can confirm that. Yeah, I think it's the same left arm as well. For this helmet, it does remove... Well, actually, I'm not going to remove it yet. I'm just going to show you the face. Here's the human face. Robot face. and Monster Face. Those are really cool. It is actually really hard to turn this. So a cool feature about the gun is this little piece clips over that head and it helps you turn it. That's really cool. The gun also has this peg to where it can plug into the back of the figure to hold it. Articulation wise, there's nothing different about this figure except for the head. Everything else the same as regular Masterverse figures. So to remove this, you just grab onto it and yank. It's got little clips. They plug into little holes. And how you actually remove these heads, you just take these off their little face plates. So that's kind of cool. And then you have like these little skeleton faces, like robotic skeleton face with like a smiley face. Kind of looks like Iron Man, but with big eyes. But you can just take those off. And then you just have this, which technically you could have put this back on and just have these little baby skeleton faces in there, which is kind of weird. But inside the briefcase, which closing it does put a lot of stress on the plastic, so you can see that's turning white. But just open up the clasp on the briefcase. That's not supposed to happen. You got more of those little skeleton faces. And in here we have a kill door. I do believe that's a Rotar face, possibly. And Skeletor, maybe? Maybe just a skeleton face. Definitely looks like Filmation Skeletor to me. But it's done in a regular bone color. So you can just take and clip these in here. They have two little pegs on the back that fit to the two little holes. And then you can interchange these however you want to. So I'm just going to show the skeleton face real quick. Kind of put that part the way on to show you how that would look. Not going to do it all the way because it takes time. And it kind of hurts to get the face plates off and stuff. You have to take your fingernail and put it behind it and put stress on your fingernail. Overall, it's pretty cool though. I do not know exactly how to put these back on. I did have these faces clamped in there to where they match the exact configuration of the vintage figure. But now I don't really know which one's which, but there's a closer look at the classic robot face, monster face, and human face. They look really cool. My second favorite face is probably the robot face. Just looks really cool with the overall body. I like the monster face a lot, but it just looks weird with the body. But that looks pretty decent. He's got the classic orange Manny Faces gun. Doesn't have the greatest grip on it. But that's just from it falling out and me putting it back in and stuff. Or taking it out to put it on the back and stuff like that, so it eventually gets loosened up. It fits really nice in the left hand. But in my world, Manny Faces is right-handed because I'm right-handed. So if I'm right-handed, my figures are right-handed. Unless you're Fisto or Trapjaw. Because then you have to be left-handed. Or Roboto. But anyhow, that's Manny Faces. Next up, we have Masterverse New Adventure Skeletor. First of all, I want to say he looks fantastic. He's inspired by the vintage figure, not by the cartoon. So I'm glad for that. So he actually has actual skeleton face, which we're going to go ahead and bring that in. He has a diamond-shaped nose, which is a little strange, but that's okay. Really, really cool skeleton face sculpt. Probably one of the best Skeletor faces they've done so far. Which also, there's a cool Horde custom that I'm making that involves this Skeletor, an Origins Ninjor, and an Origins Hordak from Turtles of Grayskull. So I'll be showing that off once I complete the custom. but really, really cool details. Got the cybernetics and stuff worked into the figure all around on the arms. Got these gloves. Got this soft goods cape, which all the capes in Masterverse are automatically warped to fit weird because the way they tape it in the package. But here's some cool circuitry that kind of mimics the spine and rib cage a little bit. Looks really, really cool. Unpainted. The vintage figure had like a black overspray on certain areas, like on the arms. Here you can see a tiny bit of it. Well, it's not kind of across on camera, but in real life, there's a little bit of like a greenish black wash in a few select spaces or places. Got a cool loincloth. A really cool loincloth, like I was saying. Cool skull detail. Kind of robotic kilt look to it. Oops, almost dropped the figure. He's got this cool circuitry and mechanics on the legs, the feet. Still kind of got those Skeletor feet, but more robotic style, which I really, really like these feet. I'd love to see this figure in Origins. If he came out exactly like this, but in Origins scale, I would absolutely love the figure. Helmet is removable. And back there you have that greenish, fleshy, cybernetics head. It's got like blue back here that slowly fades into green and then morphs into yellow. There's a little bit of paint splotch of greens and blacks on the yellow parts, but overall pretty decent. Really cool head sculpt. For the cape, you just remove it by this ring that's around his neck, which that's one thing that is bad design on the Tails part, is the little ring neck capes. That's what makes them hang so weird. If the cape attached right here on each side, like it's supposed to, it would actually hang normal, but since it's around the neck, it just kind of hangs straight down, which I don't like. You got this skeleton microphone. These are totally microphones. Anyhow, skeleton staff. It's not a Havoc staff, it's got a blade on the end. Pretty cool design. Once again, sorry for all the cuts in the videos. I have been experiencing a lot of allergy attacks in the filming of this video, so I apologize for all the cuts. As you can see by looking out this window, it is nighttime. And my allergies seem to get worse at night for some reason. During the day, they're bad, but they're not that bad. But at night, they get worse and worse. And then they kind of keep me up at night a little bit. So that's a little bit disappointing to have to suffer from allergies all the time, but what can you do about it? But I just wanted to apologize to you guys for all the cuts to the videos and hearing me sniff and my voice kind of sound all out of whack or whatever. But I am going to do some comparisons with this Skeletor. If you want to see me compare it to my vintage New Adventure Skeletor, let me know. It's like the second release of New Adventure Skeletor, but it's vintage. I have it at home. I might just end up doing a little comparison with the figures anyway, just for fun. I'll probably do some YouTube shorts with the Masterverse, comparing them to vintage and Origins. No promises, though, so don't get your hopes up. Might not happen, depends on the way life goes and timing stuff, but I don't have any of the staffs for these Skeletors with me. I just grabbed them off the shelf to take with me while I traveled. Here he is alongside the Revelation Skeletor. I do not collect that much Revelation or Revolution. Not a big fan of the cartoons style for the figures. I like the actual shows themselves. They're pretty cool. The main characters that I'm collecting for Revelation Revolution is He-Man and Skeletor, and occasionally I'll get other characters. Like one of the characters that I've got is Merman from the Revelation cartoon. I thought he had a really cool design. Trapjaw, though he's my favorite villain, looked terrible in that cartoon. So did Beastman, so I just skipped those. I had the Evil Lyn and the Tila, which I showed that in my packing up my figures. I actually got rid of those now. I made the trade at Toy Busters. So we'll not have the Evil Lyn to compare with this Masterverse Evil Lyn when I get to her, so I apologize about that. But here's how these two Skeletors scale beside each other. The New Adventure Skeletor is actually taller by a decent amount, and he is not utilizing the drop joints right now. He does have them, but he's not utilizing them, so he's just overall a taller figure, which his legs and waist just seems to be way taller in general. His torso seems about the same height as the Revelation. Anyhow, I'll also be comparing with my Masterverse New Eternia Barbarian Skeletor. I just have him in his regular get up or whatever deco. I don't have any of the Viking elements. I took those off and used them for a custom. But here he is. He is also shorter. But here's how they look alongside each other. All very different looks for Skeletor, but still very cool. I'll have the blue skin, yellow skull thing going on. Well, this is actually more of a gray skull, but still. They look pretty cool with each other. Hopefully I'll be getting the Skeletor and Bone Throne and the New Eternia Battle Armor Skeletor at some point very soon. I like their designs a lot. We're going to move on to... How about Man-at-Arms? So here we have New Eternia Man-at-Arms with his Filmation-inspired helmet and face. He comes with a Lords of Power inspired helmet and a vintage Duncan face. But I did not use those for my figure. I also have a Turtles of Grayskull Michelangelo shoulder pad on this side, because I think he needs some sort of armor on the other side. And I also had an extra Michelangelo shoulder pad. Face sculpt is really cool on this figure. I like the helmet design. I absolutely love both designs for this Man-at-Arms. He came with the Lord's Power helmet and vintage-inspired head. They looked really, really cool as well. I like this new shoulder armor with these swords clashing together. Looks really cool. There is a QC issue with the way they designed this armor. It's supposed to clip together to where when you articulate it, it just articulates as one piece, but it will not stay clipped together. So that's disappointing, and it is warped in the package. So that's one thing worth mentioning. Overall, the armor looks really, really cool, though. It's got the little fur coming out the sides, kind of like the Lords of Power version did. Really cool color on this bodysuit. I love the new loincloth design. It looks awesome for the character. They reuse the same belt that they use on most of the New Eternia figures. Looks really nice. They painted the jewel red like they did in the Origins Palace Guards. Here's the back. You've got the little Palace Guard bird, or a Zoar, whatever it's supposed to be. It's got this little piece that clips into the armor, which holds the mace. Cool thing about the mace, which I do not have with me, it had like a extended head for the mace that had like a chain, which was really cool, and then like a regular mace head. Here's the boot design. This side's boot is actually the armor piece. It's just got the leather looking foot attached. This side has a leather boot, which I think that's a great decision. Instead of having the furry boot, I feel like the leather look looks really cool with this character. Overall, he looks really, really nice. Can't wait to get Tila to go along with him. She was just announced or leaked, I guess. There's no official images of her yet, but can't wait to see her. I guess for another member of the Palace Guard or Master Universe, we have Ram Man right here. I guess I can compare them together. They look really nice together. Both have very classic looks. Not really any New Eternity elements from Duncan at all. Like I said, he just has some other classic elements. I'm just going to go ahead and move from there straight into Ram Man without any cuts. I just have him in his classic look. He did come with a really cool New Eternia look. 2 extra head sculpts. I think he came with an extra gripping hand, extra fist, and an extra armor piece, which I used the armor piece for a custom. He's got these really cool rubber pants. You can see they're stretchy. And they just fit over the articulation so he can bend his knees in there. Looks really cool. You do not... Actually, you do have a boot cut. Never mind. So you can swivel up the boot. Hinge at the foot. Oh, wow. I'm not going to hinge that foot again. I'm going to get it back into place to where he can stand, and I'm not going to move it again. Hopefully, because when I looked down there, you could actually see the peg, and there was a lot of stress on that peg. It was turning like almost a whitish orange color where it's stretching the brown plastic. It's about to break, so I'm not going to move that again. There's some paint splotch on his belt. Not belt. Kilt. Some right there. And right there. It's a silverish color. Probably from the belt or the wrist bracers or something. Really cool vintage-inspired head sculpt. Everything looks really nice there. Vintage-inspired axe. He does have like these silver sleeves that are coming out of his top armor. That's pretty cool. Got this little slit here for no reason, because you can't slip his axe in there or anything. I don't know why that's there. I don't know if they planned on originally connecting a piece into that he would hold the axe. I'm not sure. But overall, really cool look for Ram Man. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Manny Faces real quick so you can have the two best friends. Because in Filmation, they were best friends. So they look cool together. Overall, really nice design with Ram Man. Next up, we have the Revolution Battle Armor He-Man. I bought this figure because I really like Battle Armor He-Man. And like I said, I'm collecting the Revolution He-Man variants and Skeletor variants. Not Keldor, so I'm not getting King Keldor. Hopefully they'll release a New Eternia Keldor or something, because that'd be really, really cool. Or if Mondo does the 2000X line like they're supposed to, maybe they'll cover Keldor. Anyhow, face sculpt is alright. In person, he's got like this rosy cheeks. Like both of his cheeks are really rosy. So it almost looks like he's wearing blush, which I don't like that. On camera, you can't see it, but in real life, it's very obvious. Maybe this will help. I don't know if you can see it. On camera, it kind of looks tan, but in real life, it's like a pink color, so I don't like that at all. Armor looks really cool. He comes with 2 different interchangeable plates for his armor. You have the slashed one and then a regular one. It does not come with the 2 slashes, which is disappointing, because that's my favorite on the Origins and the Vintage is the 2 slashes. Comes with a arm bracer and then a wrist bracer. Classic looking loincloth. Classic looking boots. Overall, really nice design. Fantastic color scheme on the axe. I love that. He does not come with a power sword, which is disappointing. I get why, but I wish he would have came with that. He has the really, really buff buck under this. This is the first figure that they used that new chest on, which I actually really like it. They've been using that from this figure on, as far as I know, with exceptions like Merman having the gills on his chest and stuff like that. But all the regular people have the buff chest that's underneath this. I'm not going to take the armor off because it takes too much time, but just wanted to show him off. He looks pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and show him alongside the Revelation first release He-Man that looks like he has yellow jaundice. So here's how they look side by side, which technically the Revolution and Revelation animation style was exactly the same. So for the looks to be so different, the face sculpt is actually crazy. This is actually a more cartoon accurate head sculpt. Even though I don't like it, it's more cartoon accurate than that is. I'd have rather them reuse this head and not made it jaundicey and put it on this body. But anyway, here's how they look together. If you look closer, just like I said on camera, the skin tones do not really show up that well, but on this one it's really yellow, and on this one's more of like a rosy pinkish tone. I don't know if it has something to do with the colors that I'm filming. Like the backdrop is a brownish color and everything. That could be one of the reasons why it looks this way, but it's got a nice shield. This one does. Overall pretty cool. Ooh, don't fall over. I guess I'll just go ahead and jump into this He-Man while I'm at it. He looks pretty cool. Chest harness, which the Battle Armor one came with another chest harness, which is actually way cooler than this. If you look at my Turtles of Grayskull custom He-Man short, you can see that armor. It is an upgrade from this by far. This is just like way too thin. But this figure looks okay. Doesn't have a spot to hold the sword, but it does fit back through here. So that's okay. Legs, arms, and loincloth is reused for the Revolution battle armor. But a little bit better head sculpt on this one. Little bit of wash in the hair. New Eternia does a really good job with the washes, I do think. I'm going to bring this figure back in because I took him off screen a little early because I forgot to bring in the other characters for comparison. To compare with that, I also have the 40th anniversary He-Man, which is technically the first vintage collection He-Man figure because they're not re-releasing He-Man for the vintage collection of Masterverse. They just kicked that off with Skeletor and Zodak. So technically this is the He-Man that goes with that Skeletor they released. I have this lightning effect on my power sword, which looks really cool. It actually came with a Multiverse DC Black Adam, but it looks really cool on that sword. There's how they look side by side. This one has a really, really buff chest, but this one has a buff chest, but more anatomically correct underneath this armor. This one, just his pecs are way too puffy. It just looks weird, but there's how they look side by side. This is still my favorite version of He-Man that they've released because the head sculpt is close to the vintage, but still its own thing. It's much better than the more recent head sculpts, in my opinion. Let's move this off to the side. Well, actually, no, I'll just keep that up there. And then I'll bring in the Flying Fist He-Man from New Eternia. So there's how they look side by side. Pretty cool. Gonna move off the battle armor and move these together so you can go ahead and get a comparison on those. They look pretty cool together. I wish this head sculpt came on this figure because this head sculpt apparently is the new He-Man head sculpt, and they're using it on all the variants of He-Man they've released so far. After they made the new Eternia Faker, they've used it on this He-Man, they've used it on Thunder Punch He-Man, and they'll probably end up using it on another Battle Armor He-Man. So they'll probably release a second Battle Armor He-Man because their first one sucked. But anyhow, this He-Man's really cool. Just get a closer look at him because I'm not going to really focus on him too much. He's got a lot of tan overspray over his more fleshy body and a little bit of a pink overspray on his face. But it looks pretty cool. But as you can see, that's just like way too puffed out chest and back. It's like unreal, but he's a really, really cool vintage inspired figure. So I still like him. Now we're going to focus on this new Eternia Flying Fist He-Man. Mine has a super loose leg. Like unreal loose. But he has this really cool mace, spinny mace thing, just like the vintage one did. Where they kind of got like a harpoon gun style spike look to it. And this time it actually clips onto the arm to help him hold it instead of just being in the hand. So that looks pretty cool. This He-Man also came with armored golden gloves, which you can attach, which is pretty cool. Which I wish they would have had gloves for the Thunder Punch He-Man instead of the Flying Fist He-Man. I mean, I guess technically, if your fists are flying, you need protection. But Thunder Punch, I feel like you would need more protection. Anyhow, there's a close-up on that ugly face sculpt. Close up on that super awesome armor. There's a little bit of lion face detail down there on the gold part of the armor. Got these cool armored Eternia Tower inspired lion heads. Really, really cool. They are removable from the armor, but there is like these little raised pieces, so it looks weird if you don't have the shoulder pads on there. Here you have this little red piece that clips into the armor, which this is used to holster the spinny fist blade, or whatever it is. This is not Spin Blade He-Man, so that's why I said blade. It reminds me of Spin Blade He-Man. You've got this little bit of detail right here, which is inspired by the little thumb piece on the Vintage and Origins figure, to where you can move it like this and then make the waist rotate, which would make this spin, and the shield spin. Cool shield. I like the new loincloth. I like these little dangly pieces on some of the figures. On Beastman, I wish it was removable, but I like it on this one. And I like the new inspired boots. They're really, really cool. Overall, really cool figure. Just wish I had a different head sculpt. There's Eternal Customs and one other customizer that makes really, really cool head sculpts. I would love to just get a shipment of a bunch of He-Man heads and a Beastman head for my new Eternia Beastman. Because I really wish all my He-Man figures had a custom head sculpt, because a lot of the custom head sculpts are way better than factory head sculpts, in my opinion. Anyhow, this is a really cool figure. Now we're going to move on to the last few figures. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in this new Eternia Too Bad. I already did a review on him, but I did it a little bit sideways, so sorry about that. Just wanted to do another close-up on this figure. Look at all of his details and a better lighting situation. He looks really, really cool. Dynamic. Wow, there's a lot of paint chipping right there on the axe. But pretty cool. Overall figure design. He does not have the drop joints. Closer look at the head sculpts. Just wanted to bring him in just really, really quick before I move on to the next figure, which is Beastman. I don't have all the other accessories that came in the deluxe Beastman for New Eternia. I just have him in the most basic vintage-inspired look. So I just took off all the extra arm armor and leg armor and the fur armor and bear cap and all that. Just put on the vintage-inspired armor. Nothing more than what the vintage came with. So here's how that looks. I wish this head sculpt was better, because Beastman is my second favorite villain, and this face sculpt doesn't look fierce enough, even though technically this version of Beastman was actually a good guy according to the bio, but I want a vicious head sculpt for my Beastman. The 2.0 Beastman they came out with is evil for New Eternia, but the first release is good, which I don't understand that. The Roboto that they're releasing is also evil. He's been programmed to be evil by Skeletor, I do believe. But this Beastman has a cool look to it. Cool whip. I hate when they do a boot cut on a figure that just has bare shins. With the shin guards, it's fine, but without it, it's kind of ugly. I do not like these feet, but the new Beastman has updated feet, so when I get that one, I'll compare them. Overall, he's a pretty cool figure. Big, beefy guy in comparison to the other characters. He's one of the oversized. No, he's deluxe. Oversized would be too bad. So there's how those two big characters scale together. Overall, they're really cool. I'm loving the new Eternia and the Princess of Power stuff for Masters of the Universe Masterverse. I'm loving the new adventure stuff. I would like to get the He-Man and the Slush Head from that series. Next up, just going to do a quick run through. Oh, here is the mace that goes with my Origins Mechadeck. So I did have it, but it doesn't really matter now. So for Zodak, he's one of the new Eternia figures that did not turn out that great. He's one of my favorite characters, but I don't really like this figure that much. So he was really early in the new Eternia line. So just like the early Masterverse Revelation figures, he's lower quality. He was cool at the time, but seeing what Mattel's doing now, he's definitely a lesser quality character. I picked him up at Walmart, a Walmart that's about 3 hours away from my house. They normally have a lot of He-Man figures, some of which were released a long time ago, just like this one. So when I went back there from the beach, I picked him up. So he has the little staff, kind of like the 2000X one that splits in half. He's got his regular gun that has a holster on his leg that's connected to the belt, which you can take the holster and the gun off of the belt, just have it separate. But it looks pretty cool. Like these feet, they are reusing these feet for the top part of the boot they're reusing for Vintage Collection Skeletor and Zodak. But they do have different feet, so that's pretty cool. He does have a bit of a furry chest under there, just like the vintage one did. So he's pretty decent, but definitely not at the level of Cyclone and some of the more recent characters. Alright. Next up are my two newest figures, which they are the New Eternia Fisto and New Eternia Evil Lyn. So first off, I absolutely love this Fisto. Fisto's not one of my favorite characters. I like seeing him in the Filmation cartoon. I have the vintage figure. I have the Origins figure. I still plan to get the Masterverse Revelation figure. I have a Eternia Minis version of him. I have 3 Mega Constructs versions of him, but he's not necessarily one of my favorite characters, just one that I happen to get a lot. But I absolutely love this design. Love this kind of 2000X Man-at-Arms style hairdo. I love the helmet that's inspired by Stridor's helmet. I just absolutely love this figure. I don't necessarily like the fact that he's got a robotic arm, but I'm fine with that. If they had painted this part silver on the inside to where it's not just flesh toned and a robot arm sticking out of it, I would like that better. But overall, he's really, really cool. There was a fair amount of paint slop on this figure when I got him, so I kind of touched that up so you can kind of see that there's slight differences in the silvers and purples in certain areas because I had to touch up some stuff, but it looks way better than it did. Picked this up at Walmart as well. Just dropped my Ords one. Anyhow, he's got a really cool look to his mace or hammer, which the hammer heads are removable and can be interchanged with the fist. I'm not going to do that on this video, but I am going to do a short that shows some things that you can do with this arm. Like all the Roboto and Metalboto accessories can clip into this arm from the Origins figures, so that's pretty cool. Just really, really love this figure's design. He has that huge buff chest that I was talking about that came with the Battle Armor He-Man. He does come with a clenched fist as well, but since he has weapons to hold, I just opted with a weapon-holding hand. He's got cool boots. I don't necessarily like the purple fur. That's kind of weird. I wish they would have just done brown boots, even though technically Fisto's supposed to have purple boots. Purple fur just looks weird on brown boots, in my opinion. But he looks really, really cool. He came with 2 head sculpts, this New Eternia head sculpt, and he also came with the vintage-inspired head sculpt, which you can see right here. This is the head that I'm actually going to use on my Origins figure instead of the one that came with the Origins figure. The skin tones are a little different, but they still look really cool together. So, just going to go ahead and stand this alongside him to show scale. Let's get him standing up straight. So, there's how they look side by side. Look really cool. I do want to show off this sword. For some reason, they opted with a more katana-style blade instead of his classic sword like Triclops came with. I wish he would have came with the Triclops sword, which I might get a custom sword or something or do a custom job myself. But overall, he's a really, really, really cool figure. I've had a lot of fun messing with this figure. By far one of the best ones they've released recently. Right up there with Mechanic and Cyclone. I'll move him off to the side. If you want to do a Evil Lyn comparison time, just let me know in the comments. I have a lot of Origins Evil Lyns to compare with this. So, here is the New Eternia Evil Lyn. First of all, she looks beautiful. Perfect face sculpt. Perfect buck and everything. Legs look pretty decent. Overall, a really, really great figure. I do have a DC Multiverse stand to keep her standing. She's got a super nice head sculpt, like I said. And headdress looks amazing. I love the little bit of fur around her top. She's got this really cool detail on her upper half. Clothing-wise, same thing down here on her loin piece. Got those skulls sculpted and a little bat symbol, kind of like Skeletor's. Her staff looks amazing. Got a little purple fingernail polish, which looks really, really good. The arms look great, nice and slender. Nice side view. Legs look decent. Boots look fantastic. She does have drop joints as well, so that helps with articulation. She can go out with the splits. There we go. She can swivel at the thigh. She's got double knees, swivel at the boot, hinge at the foot, rocker at the foot. Head could go up a tiny bit, down a good bit, look side to side. Swivel and full rotation right under the upper half of her chest right there. Her arms go outwards, forwards, backwards, bend at the elbow. So she actually has a single jointed elbow instead of double jointed like Shadow Weaver. Hinge at the wrist, which her joints were really tight when I first got her out, so it's hard to move her around at first. But now she's pretty fluid. Once again, her cape is warped, so it does not stay out like this, which is how I'd like it to stay, because of how they packaged it. But overall, she's really, really nice. Her staff does come apart, so she can have it in the wand form, which is really cool, and the staff form, which just has a little peg. I did cut the peg on mine because it was a little bit too long, so there's like a gap. But when I cut it just a tiny bit, now it fits together perfectly and looks great. Another thing that I wanted to show is I have this little magic effect or invisible effect that comes with a Marvel Legends Invisible Woman. You can just place that on her hand, on Evelyn's hand. Hold on just a second. I'm going to do it off camera. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way. There we go. Let me get her posed right. Staff over at the side the way I want it. Hand out. Get that action figure stand back in here. And that just looks fantastic in my opinion. That's like the perfect Evil Lyn. But like I said before, I'm going to bring in Shadow Weaver to show her alongside Evil Lyn, because I thought the women would be the same size, and I planned on displaying these together. But just look at that height difference. It's unreal. From the side view, it's very obvious. She's just like a midget. It's unreal. Like, no offense, but she's like almost child height. I didn't mean any offense on that comment about her height. But she is very, very short. I was really surprised about that. But like I said, she did come with a flight stand, which made her probably about that much taller. So I guess that's accurate. But if Evil Lyn came with a flight stand as well, it'd be like this. So I'm just saying, height-wise, they did not do a great job, but they still look pretty cool as the two witches of their factions that they come from. I'm going to put Evil Lyn alongside Skeletor. See how they look together. Oops, dropping Shadow Weaver. Evil Lyn is actually taller than Skeletor, which is not the greatest thing, but it's okay, I guess. I don't really like that. Just now noticed it, though, but what can you do about it? But she looks fantastic. Triclops turned out great. Mechanic, Leech, Trapjaw, Cyclone, Too Bad. Almost every single one of the new Eternity figures have turned out great, excluding Zodak. I'm not really a fan of him. But overall, these are really, really cool action figures. And I just wanted to show them off. I'm just going to kind of set up all these figures so I can take a photo for my thumbnail. And then I'll finish this video off. As always, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a comment down below if you want to see more videos like this. I will be posting at some point another video similar to this that has all of my new DC Multiverse figures, because I've been kind of holding off on doing videos on those as well. I got several more Superman figures and stuff. Wow. I'm just going to put you back here because you're not wanting to stand up. Overall, these figures all turned out really, really great. I don't really know what else to say about these figures other than that. So once I'm done setting up these figures, that'll be it. So hope to see you guys back here at my channel someday soon when I release my next video. Alright. Just going to keep setting up figures. You can go ahead and click off the video if you would like to, or you can stick around to see how I set up all the figures for the photo, because the photo is a very important part. Thumbnail is always very important. One thing I want to mention is I do not do clickbait, so I do not put something fake for the thumbnail that doesn't show up in the video. The thumbnail does show up in the video at some point, always. So that is worth mentioning. Which I don't want to put Zodak in the front because he's an ugly figure. I'm going to put him in the back. The new Vintage Collection Zodak, though, looks fantastic. Can't wait to get him. He went up on the Walmart CollectorCon for 2024, I believe. Or was it 2025? I can't remember. He looked fantastic then, so I'm hoping to get him, but every time I look at Walmart, he's out of stock. So when he comes back in stock, hopefully I'll be able to pick that figure up. But anyhow, just going to finish setting these up, dropping accessories, who cares? Just have to get them all in the shot. It's all that matters right now. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power, says He-Man. Also, I'm really excited for the new Thundercats crossover. I hope to see that soon. Anyhow, this will be the thumbnail. So, I hope you guys enjoy. Peace.